Well, as promised, here we are to talk about Cloverfield. Oh man, love this movie. I'm a little bit biased here because I mean I like the found footage thing. I love kaiju movies. I don't know if you know me, then you know that I love like Godzilla and that. Like I grew up on those movies. So having a found footage kaiju movie that's actually shot like to be scary, right up my alley. So right away, this will be a little bit of a biased review, but we're gonna go for it anyway because why not? Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Cloverfield for some reason and you don't want it spoiled, stop the video because I will be spoiling it. There you go, you've been warned. So, yeah, let's just get right into it. So we've got, it starts with like some found footage, like government found this on site, whatever, which was formerly Central Park, blah, 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 blah. And then it just starts showing footage. So we are introduced to our main character, Rob, through some old footage of him waking up in his quasi-girlfriend Beth's apartment looking out over Central Park and everything, or I think it's Central Park, I don't know. It's in New York and it's like a big forested area, so I assume it's Central Park. It all takes place in Manhattan, this movie, by the way, so. Waking up, it's very clear that they're like together, because she's like in bed still, unclothed, and all that delightful stuff. I'm sure she appreciates being filmed in that state as well, so that's fantastic. Anyway, they are flirting and saying, let's go to Coney Island, essentially, because she'd never been. And he's like, oh my god, you have to go. Oh, you're so excited, etc. And then it cuts to Rob's brother, Jason, and his girlfriend, Lily, walking down the street getting party supplies. So it turns out that this is like a month or two after the Coney Island Beth adventure thing or whatever. Rob has been promoted to a VP of something. We don't ever find out what, really, I don't think. But he's promoted to a VP, and essentially he's moving to Japan. Huge promotion, way more money, etc. Huge jump in his career, so good for him. So his brother and Lily are getting a bunch of people over to his place to do like a surprise farewell party for him. Anyway, they're yeah, they go shopping or whatever, and there's a party happening, and that's the next. Bleh. So now we're in the party because they're not going to film their whole adventure shopping, right? I don't even know why they filmed a little bit. They use the excuse of like, oh, I'm seeing if I can get the camera to work. Is this working? Blah blah. While they're walking, because you got to establish that, right? Like the criticisms that come for two. Wow, what am I, Ricky? Come for to be. No, the criticisms of found footage movies essentially are: why are they filming everything? Why aren't they putting the camera down? Etc, etc, etc. And they kind of tackle that in this movie pretty well. So, I mean, the first one, yeah, okay, it's the standard, typical, I'm seeing how the camera works deal, which they do in, like, almost all of these movies, but it's a standard thing. Anyway, cut to the party where Jason really is not wanting to just walk around with a camera all day, so he goes and gets his buddy Hud. Hud is one of, Hudson, but they call him Hud. Hud is one of Rob's best buddies or whatever, so Jason pawns off the camera to Rob, and I mean to Hud, and Hud takes over camera duty for basically like 99% of the rest of the movie. So yeah, there we go. Rob arrives, everyone's all quiet, opens the door, surprise, and he's all like, oh yay, and all his friends, and Hud's going around taking testimonials from everyone, like saying memories of Rob or wishing him well. There's this girl there that doesn't really know Rob too well, but she's there just to see whatchamacallit. What is her name? Lily. Oh my god. She's there to see Lily because they're buds or whatever. Her name's Marlena, and Hud apparently has like this huge crush on her, so he's like asking her for a testimonial. She's like, I like met him like twice ever. Like I'm literally here to see Lily. I mean, and he's like, no, leave a message. So she leaves it really awkward. She's like, hi, Rob, go get him. You know, like, there's no personal relationship between the two. Anyway, then Beth arrives. And lo and behold, Beth brings a date which is not taken well. Travis. So Travis is there with Beth, and obviously Rob is choked. No one else knows that they like did they bumped nasties or whatever before. And there's a whole chat on the steps. Basically, Jason and Rob and Hud are sitting like, man, like we didn't know, like, you know, you're moving to Japan, what are you gonna do? Or he says, I'm moving to Japan, what am I supposed to do? And they're like, dude, like, you could not go or whatever. And they're just trying to make him feel better, essentially. Like, you gotta go if you get a promotion like that. I mean, come on. Maybe, I don't know. I probably wouldn't either, to be fair. Well, it depends, actually. Where am I going to? Japan? Probably not, because I don't speak Japanese, and I'd be, like, absolutely hosed. And also, monsters attack there more than anywhere in the world, so... which is a fun nod that Cloverfield did, having a kaiju movie that, like, the main character is going to Japan, which is essentially where they, like... They didn't originate from, but they became big in Japan. It's Godzilla and all that. Whatever, I don't have to go into it. Anyway, fun little nod. I'm rambling. So, obviously, upon learning this, Hud tells everyone at the party that they slept together, and everyone's like, well, no shit. Anyway, there's a little brief quarrel in the hallway, and she's like, you didn't even call me. He's like, what was I supposed to do? I'm leaving and whatever. And they see Hud, and they're like, for fuck's sake, dude, we're trying to have, like, a moment of privacy. He's like, sorry. Anyway, she takes off. And he says something snarky to Travis. I can't remember. He's like, good luck tonight or something like that to him. It's like, okay, mature. Anyway, yeah, they're having like the chat, and there's like a big like rumble, and the power goes out. And they're like, what the fuck? And they go up on the roof, and they see like the building's power shutting down and everything. And they're like, what the hell's going on? And all these people on the roof, like, I have no idea. And on the news, it was saying that there's like an oil tanker that's capsized near the Statue of Liberty or something, and it might be like an underwater earthquake or something like that. I don't know. I can't remember what they said it was, but anyway, obviously they're not going to think it's a giant monster right away, right? So yeah, underwater seismic activity. There you go. That's what it was. I don't know how that would capsize an oil tanker, but it doesn't matter. Anyway. They're trying to figure it out, and boom! You see in the skyline, right in the city, like between buildings, a massive explosion. And everyone's kind of like, holy shit. And then they realize, oh crap, debris. And like large chunks of like building are coming flying at this. So they rush down the stairs and narrowly get killed. I'm sure some people on the roof died, like, let's be real. Go down the stairwell, down to the main floor, because, I mean, get the hell out of there, right? And then there's the scene where they see... do they see the leg first? Can't remember. But anyway, that's just the famous scene with the Statue of Liberty head. So you see something going flying, you think it's a piece of debris, it like bounces off another building, you realize, okay, this is a lot bigger, and boom! Statue of Liberty's head with claws and like bent up and all completely mangled. Skids to a halt. Cinematic perfection right there. That was beautiful. Like, symbol of New York destroyed. I mean, you can't you can't sum it up any better, like, visually than that, right? So that happens, and then I think you see the creature's leg, and there's more like shaking, and like you see a building in the background collapse. I don't know. It might be the Chrysler building. I have no idea if that's in Manhattan. I'm really bad. I'm sorry, you guys. But some building with like a pointed top and like lights that looks sort of like the Chrysler building collapses, and it's kind of like reminiscent of like the footage from 9/11, which is intense. Like the dust in the street just coming, and people walking completely stunned, like coated in dust, and like it's pretty intense. So that was very well done too. And then yeah, that happens. They take shelter in a like a convenience store or whatever. Oh my god, this is so bad. I'm sorry, guys. They take shelter in a convenience store, and they come back out after it's like calmed down and whatnot, and you can hear like guns and stuff in the background. So obviously the military's fighting it, and they're trying to figure out like, what the hell was that? And HUD suddenly is like, oh shit, I got it on tape. So the crowd gathers around, and then the tape cuts, and you see about maybe 7 seconds of like the fun Coney Island Rob and Beth day to day that HUD recorded over. So that's good. Doesn't matter in the long run, I guess, but like, yeah, anyway, and then it cuts back, and then they're like, what the fuck was that? I have no idea. Nobody has any clue. Anyway, they figure, yeah, we need to get the hell out of here, and then that's when Rob receives a call from Beth, who is scared shitless, panicking. She's saying she can't move, and then the phone cuts out. Turns out the battery died, so there's looting going on, because if ever there's a disaster, people are gonna loot. It's just the delightfulness of humanity, right? it's what we do as a race, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, he joins the looting, looking specifically for a battery for his phone so he can call back. Finally finds one, but as he's looking, HUD and Jason and Lily and Marlena are all, they like all reconvened of the party. Those are the people that found each other and all this craziness. So they're in there trying to say, like, Rob, we gotta go. Like, things are getting closer. And you can see on the TV the image of the creature between the buildings sort of still like obscured, but you can tell there's like a giant living thing moving around and like fighting the military and all that. So that's fun. Eventually he finds the battery and they run out, and against the police's directions, obviously, they go down a back street so they can get to where Beth is. He calls his number, and there's a message from her, and it's her basically like on the verge of dying and like just scared shitless, and he's like, okay. Calls her back and he's like, hey, we're on our way. He leaves a message because he doesn't get through to her, I don't think, but anyway, that's the mission. We're gonna go save Beth while Manhattan is at war, essentially. Noble. To be fair, I would probably do the same thing. I'm not like a hero by any means, but if it was someone I cared about, I would absolutely do that. Risk my own life. Although I would probably... Yeah, I don't know. I might let the other people come too, actually. So I was going to say, I would tell them to not come with me. But no, like, fuck you. The more the merrier, right? Someone's going to have a better chance. Anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter getting to... I'm not in the movie, so it doesn't matter what the hell I would do. Anyway, that's what Rob's doing. So they figure, okay, let's go to the Brooklyn Bridge. It'll cross right over. Oh no, shit, that's what happens. My bad. Okay, so rewind. Major point in the movie that I completely jumped over is before the call to Beth, they're on the Brooklyn Bridge. And it's crowded, and there are helicopters telling them to go a certain way and whatnot. And that's when he gets the call from Beth, and he's like trying to shout, and the crowd is pushing them, separating them a little bit. He's like, I have Beth on the phone, and he's talking to her, and they're trying to like get a better view of what's going on. And I mean, Rob is like, we got to go back and get her, and they're kind of like trying to, but the crowd, right? Crowd mentality. So Jason, Rob's brother, climbs up to get kind of a better view, and that's when all of a sudden you see through the camera, oh shit, HUD screams, and the big friggin' thing, I don't know if it's the tail or the arm of the creature, whatever, smashes right down on the Brooklyn Bridge, right literally pretty much on top of Jason. So he's kaputs. They run. There's time to mourn later, and they do, but they run. They're kind of coming to terms. Lily's devastated, obviously. Rob is like in shock, like that's his brother and her partner and whatever. And as they're walking down the street, I guess towards Beth, they decide, okay, well, we still gotta go get Beth, and everyone's on board and whatnot. And as they're walking down the street, they are like literally in between tanks and Cloverfield monster that just sort of goes out of nowhere, and you see rockets and shit flying, and very cool scene shot. Like, you don't often see, like, from the soldier's perspective fighting a kaiju, which is, it's cool. It really gives you a sense of scale and whatnot. They did that in 2014 Godzilla a little bit, I think. Like, the perspective in that movie was fantastic too. So I like that. I mean, the fact that you're all on a handheld cam, I guess you can't really show too much other than that. But anyway, love it. So this is going on, and they're trying to figure out what the hell to do, and they see a subway like entrance stairwell like a half a block up, and they decide to make a run for it, and they just barely make it. Like, I guess it hit a building or something, and it collapses like right by them as they go down the stairs. And so they're kind of stuck in this subway stop, like a platform, I guess it is. And that's when they finally have a moment to reflect on shit that just happened. Like, Rob's gone. Jason's gone. Rob even gets a call from his parents, and he's like, oh my god, Mom. Yeah, and tells them, like, they're okay, but Rob, why do I keep calling Jason Rob? Jason's dead, and it's kind of a moment. Anyway, Rob and Lily kind of, like, console each other off to the side, and Hud and Marlena's still kind of in shock of what the hell's going on. She was in the middle of, like, the building collapse, and she, like, was one of the people walking back, completely stunned out that they found. Anyway, Hud's trying to talk to her, like, what do I even say to them? I feel like I should say something, and she's just quiet. Anyway, they end up getting up, and they're looking at the stuff, and they're like, holy shit, this leads to wherever. I can't remember what they say. I don't know anything about New York, like, infrastructure or street layouts, but apparently going down the subway tunnel up the next thing will get them basically out of harm's way or something like that. Anyway, so they go down the subway tunnel, and he's saying, Hud is going on his conspiracy theory trail. He's like, oh, maybe it's like a deep sea ocean, you know, like they found a fish under there that we thought were extinct, or maybe it's from outer space or whatever. Someone's like Superman. Yeah, Marlena's like Superman. He's like, oh, you know Superman? Like, of course. She's like, oh my god, you know Superman? Oh my god, are you aware of Garfield? It was just like the stupidest comment, but I laughed because, tension relieving, right? Anyway, I like their little banter. That's fun. Are you aware of Garfield? No. Anyway, that's when the rats come. And you know, if rats are running in one direction altogether in a large swarm, that's never a good thing. And they are, and they're running with them. So whatever they're running from is behind the group. So that's fun. Marlena's freaking out because she thinks rats equal gross. I mean, they're like sewer rats or like subway rats, so I guess they're probably not the cleanest. But anyway, that's a whole thing. And they're trying to figure out what they're running from, and Rob is like, dude, you can like turn on the night vision. He's like, oh fuck, there's night vision. And they do, and just as they turn it, it shows Rob's face and creatures on the ceiling. So on the news, when they were in the store, they had said small things were dropping off of the larger creature. And then it shows like a news reporter camera filming as these things are falling, and it turns out they're little parasites that start attacking all the soldiers and stuff, and that's lovely. So that's what's on the ceilings, and they attack, and Hud almost gets his ass killed, but Marlena literally saves his life by like beating the snot out of one with a metal piece of bar or something that she found and kills it, but one jumps on her back and bites her, and then Rob saves the day and kicks the shit out of it and grabs her, and they make it to the next platform. It's not the one that they were heading to, but it was one in the way, and they close the door, and okay, parasites are on the other side of the door, we're good. Marlena's bit bad, like there's blood and stuff. She's good to walk, but it's deep, so they patch her up as good as they can with like a shirt or something, I don't know. And they break some water out of like a Dasani machine and clean her up as best as they can, and they head out to see whereabouts this platform specifically is. And they're like, I remember the specific saying, oh, it's 9th Street or something. I don't know if that means something to any New Yorkers, but if that's like a major area, good for them. Boy. Okay, anyway, so they see a light coming through the exit, like a very, very bright-ass light. And it's still dark out right now, right? So it's not from outside. And they head into this department store, and the light is bright, and they get swarmed by soldiers who essentially escort them through quickly, and they're like, yeah, you can't go this way, dude. There's like a field hospital. Marlena's feeling kind of sick, but she keeps going anyway, and they're escorting him there, and HUD is like, what is that thing? What is that thing? And one of the soldiers just looks and then turns away, and he's like, they don't fucking know what that thing is either. Oh my god. Which, like, yeah, obviously they don't. But anyway, you can hear on a radio someone saying, okay, there's like a squadron of F-18s coming to assist. So that's good. Everyone's all pumped because the fighter jets are coming. Rob's arguing with one of the officers, saying, like, listen, you have to let me through. I know, like, you're not held responsible for whatever happens to me. I have to go. She's hurt. She's gonna die if I don't go. Basically, shoot me if you want to stop me from going or whatever. And finally, they're like, oh, for fuck's sakes. That's when Marlena's like, HUD, and he turns and puts the camera on her, and you see, like, Ebola-style blood coming out of her eyes and mouth and nose and everything. She's like, I don't feel so good. And all of a sudden you hear, oh my god, we got a bite. So yeah, she's been bitten, and that's not good, apparently. They end up rushing her into this room, all these hazmat guys, and they, like, zip it up, and you can see, like, her shadow just, like, burst. So that's fun. So Marlena's dead now, too. So 2 down. Obviously, HUD's freaking out. That was like his crush or whatever. But, you know, we've lost a lot of people already, so. One of the officers, I guess, having sympathy, like his friend just died in front of him, tells him, listen, you can go this way. There's going to be a pickup at this spot at 6 a.m. If you make it there, they can get you out. Go do your thing, dude. Well, I don't condone it. I don't have time to, like, argue with you and stop you, so go for it. Anyway, quest for Beth continues. And they're heading down the street, and the area they're in is quiet, so the creature is, like, left that area, apparently. You can hear stuff in the distance, but, you know, it's pretty quiet. No, not really any lights, or cars or people. There's, like, the odd person walking by. I don't know. They get to Beth's building, and it's on its angle, like leaning against another building. Now that ain't good. Is that her building? That's not her building. That's her building. So they're like, shit, well, we can't get to her this way. Like, should we just go in and go up and see how far? And then HUD's like, or we could just go to the other building and see if there's a way to cross over. And Rob looks. He's like, genius. And they bolt, and of course HUD's like, maybe we don't do that. Anyway, they do that. And they walk up like 57 flights of stairs or some crazy number. And finally they get to an apartment where the roof is somewhat level with, like, the balcony or window of the apartment building that the other one is leaning on. So they're able to, through, like, metal pipes and air conditioning units, they sort of, like, scramble up to the stairwell of the leaning building to get down to Beth's apartment suite, which they do. So he kicks down the door and they head in, and the place is fucked. Like, excuse my language, sorry. Maybe I should rate these like PG-13 or something. Anyway, place is wrecked, and they find Beth, and she's got like a piece of rebar through her shoulder. She's not in great shape. And she comes to, and Rob comes and, like, Beth, I'm here. And she's like, oh my god, he came for me. And there's obviously, like, romance between them still. I'm sorry, that was so cringe. Yeah, so that they have their little feels, and then they realize, shit, we're gonna have to lift her off of this rebar, like, up and over. Yeah. And they do that, and she's enjoying every second of it, clearly. You can tell from the screams radiating from her voice box. Anyway, they get her up and patch her the best that they can. She can walk, so she walks. Clearly, like, in pain, though. As they go back to the roof to scramble back to the building that is standing, the F-18s fly over, so they arrived just in the nick of time to show the Cloverfield monster heading back towards the building that it knocked over a while earlier that they're on the roof of. And you see the planes hitting it, and HUD, like, stops for a brief second to film. He's like, holy shit, they hit it. And they're like, dude, come on. So he comes on. There's one parasite in the stairwell as they're going down, but, like, Rob axes it. He has, like, a fire. He smashes and gets a fire axe and kills it, whatever. Thing's squirming with an axe in it. Good times. And they head back down to the street, and they're running toward the point that he was told to meet at, and it's like right in the middle of the war zone. So like Creature's Foot literally like half a block away with tanks and like military vehicles on the other side. Like they're right in the shit of it. Anyway, they head toward the helicopters. Lily gets in one helicopter, but that's already full. They're like, no, we're together, and like, you guys will get on the next one. We have to get one, we have to use them as we use them. We can't organize it properly so that everyone's friends are with everyone. We don't have time for that shit. And they're like, hey, fair enough. Anyway, so Hud and Beth and Rob get in another one, while Lily takes off in the other one. I'm pretty sure it's implied that Lily's helicopter is destroyed and smashed down and whatnot. I'm pretty sure. I don't know 100%, but it looks that way as they're taking off. Anyway, they're flying high above the buildings. They see the creature going down, like, whatever one of the main streets of Manhattan is. Again, sorry, I don't know my Manhattan location stuff. Oh my god, this is awful. I'm so sorry. Yeah, and then that's when one of my favorite scenes in the movie happens. I don't know why, but I always get a chill when they show like him looking at the creature walking through the building. Then they look up and like complete silence. You see it like a B-2 stealth bomber and like the little trail of bombs falling, and it hits the creature, and they're like, "Holy fuck, they hit it!" And it's like confirmed down or whatever. And as the smoke is like rising, they're like, "Oh my god, we got it!" And you can hear over the radio like direct hit, and everyone's celebrating, meaning they think it's dead. No, of course it's not dead, because brah jumps right up and gets the helicopter, which spins wildly out of control. Everyone's screaming. Hud's crying like a little bitch, but I mean, I would be too, so nothing against him for that. And they crash in Central Park. And they show the camera sort of just filming some piece of debris or whatever. And I guess it's still attached to Hud's arm, because as he comes to, you see it move, and they're struggling to pull Rob out. He's like pinned, and his leg is like really hurt, and they tie his leg off, and he sets the camera down to like help Rob up and get him off, and as they're going, he stops and turns like, "Oh shit, I'll go grab the camera." So okay, another thing is like at one point they ask him like, "Hud, what the hell are you doing? Why are you filming this?" He's like, "People need to know what happened here." And I mean, that's a pretty easy thing to shoe in there so that you can have them filming everything, but at the same time, I think there would probably be people like that, like, let's document this shit as it's happening so people can see. So I thought that was alright. I mean, you can either not address it at all or address it in a somewhat believable way, and they did the somewhat believable way, and I'm good with that. Anyway, so he goes back and gets the camera, but they're like, "Oh god, Hud," and he's like, "What?" And he looks up, and yeah, there's the monster's head, like, right there, and it gets him. He got, or whatever they say. Anyway, you see his camera spinning. It's, I guess, still attached to his hand. Falls, and then you see his head fall. I assume it's attached to the body. Maybe not. Maybe he's ripped in half. I don't know. But it just has his head there. And then it does a cool thing where like the camera is like trying to autofocus on the blades of grass and his face, so it's like going in and out. And I thought that was a cool little touch there too. So that was nice. Turns out, I guess, Rob grabbed the camera after, and he and Beth are like hiding under a bridge as they heard on the radio in the crash site, I guess, that initiate hammer down or whatever, which is what one of the soldiers had warned Rob, saying like, "Yeah, you get to this place so that we can take you out of here, because we're considering, just counting the area as a loss." And he's like, "Oh, this block or whatever." He's like, "No, like Manhattan." So I don't know if that means a nuke. I assume it wouldn't be a nuke, because then it would, like, the radiation would drift into the rest of the city, like Brooklyn and Queens and all that, and like the greater New York area, New Jersey, probably all the way up into New England, probably some parts of Canada. Like, radiation's not a fun thing. So that's that. Anyway, hammer down has been initiated, so he's got the camera, and they do their last little testimonials. He's like, "Hi, I'm Rob, blah, blah, blah. It's whatever date it is. It's 6 something in the morning, and this thing attacked today, and we don't know what it is." And The military is attempting to get rid of it, and we're basically taking cover, trying to ride it out until whatever's done is done. And then he hands it to Beth, and she's like, I don't know what to say. And she's like, I'm Beth, whatever, McIntyre, I think her name is. Elizabeth McIntyre, and I don't know what the hell's going on and why this is happening. And then you hear a boom, and the camera falls, and rocks fall on it. So apparently, I guess the bridge they're on is like starting to collapse. And they exchange their little I love yous, and then a bigger boom happens, and I guess that's the big bomb that they dropped on the monster. And you can hear it roar, and like then it cuts completely to a nice little scene that HUD recorded over of the Coney Island day, and it just ends on a little note with Beth saying, I had a good day today, and then it ends, and then it that's the movie. So I apologize again for how like bad this summary of the synopsis was. Just my brain is like on 2 cylinders right now, so trying to make words coagulate and then exit my mouth in the order that I want them to is not an easy task right now. I can't believe I even said that. So anyway, thoughts about the movie. Found footage kaiju film. I mean, that's not, you can't get much more like up my alley than that, in all honesty. So you got a big monster, awesome. You got military action, awesome. You have city destruction, awesome. You have characters that actually seem like real people, that's awesome. I don't know if there were known actors at the time. I don't think they were, which works for this kind of stuff. Again, you don't want to see, I mean, you do want to see Brad Pitt running around while a kaiju attacks, I guess, but like you also, there's something to be said about an unknown actor. It just makes it seem more realistic. Yeah, so that's my thoughts. Solid. What am I going to rate it? I really like this movie. I'm going to put it in the 9s. I think most reviews give it like a 7 or 8, but that kaiju thing just bumps it up, man. I got to give it a 9.4. That's how much I like this movie. So not everyone's going to agree with that, trust me, but that's how I felt about it. And again, just the way it was shot, the attention to detail, the mixture of like CGI with the grainy film of like a handheld camera was not seamless, but as close to it as you could get in 2006, 2008, whatever it was. So all around good. No music, which works because it's a found footage, so you're obviously not going to have music. Again, the whole found footage thing, but a unique take like you've never seen. Before this, I don't think there was, at least not on a large scale, a found footage kaiju movie. You've had your Paranormal Activities, Blair Witch Project, all that kind of stuff, like supernatural things, but never like a giant ass monster destroying a city. So that was cool. I remember seeing this in the theater, and they were like warnings that, oh, the shaky cam will make people sick and stuff, and I thought it was just great. I just had a great time, and I still do. Just watched it again tonight, and it shocked me how well it held up all these years later. So yeah, 9.4. Should you watch it? Yeah, you absolutely should watch it. Even if you don't care about monster movies, just watch it anyway, because it's done so much differently than like a Godzilla movie or whatever, that it's a monster movie, but that's not all it is. Same thing with found footage. It's a found footage movie, but that's not all it is. You put the two together and there's something special there. I really think so. I think this was J.J. Abrams, I'm pretty sure, and he nailed it. So, yeah, part of a trilogy apparently, sort of. So 10 Cloverfield Lane, that was like that John Goodman movie, which is also very good, but in a very different way, which I'll probably review at some point too. That was one, and then there was, I think, Cloverfield Paradox. Is that what it was? It was like a Netflix movie or something, I think, and it was all right. But I do hear they're making a direct sequel to the first movie, which is good. You know, I like the shared universe idea. It's fun and everything, but like nothing really relates to any of the other movies in that, except for Paradox, where you see Cloverfield monster again, but very briefly at the end. Oh shit, spoilers. Has nothing to do with the story though, so it's just a little added thing. Hopefully that didn't ruin that movie for you if you haven't seen it. My bad. Anyway. I'll end it here because we're going way too long. But yeah, definitely check it out. Cloverfield, excellent movie, highly recommended. 2 thumbs up, 9.4.